Hello everyone. My greetings to each one of you. This is the third session on utility analysis. In the previous session, you have understood the concept of total utility. I'm Poonam Vohra from Microeconomics Learning Center. In this session, the focus is on marginal utility. Let's understand. Marginal utility measures the change in total utility when one more unit of the commodity is consumed. It can be calculated by two ways. One, change in total utility divided by change in the units of a commodity consumed, or marginal utility is equal to total utility of N minus total utility of N minus 1 units. Now, if there are two ways of finding marginal utility, which one of the two should be followed? That has to be understood. So, one needs to focus on the units consumed. So, let's understand how is it done with the help of a numerical example. Let's have a look at these two tables. Both the tables represent units consumed and total utility. And in both cases, marginal utility can be derived. The difference between these two is that in table 1, units consumed are not in perfect serial order, whereas in table B, units consumed are in perfect serial order. Now concentrate on table A first. When 1 unit is consumed, total utility is 10. So marginal utility also remains the same as there is no change here. Now second unit is not given. For the third unit consumed, total utility is now 24. Marginal utility can be derived either by applying this formula or this formula. Let's see the difference. If change in total utility divided by change in the units of a commodity consumed is applied, then marginal utility will be 24 minus 10, which is 14, divided by change in units consumed 3 minus 1, which is 2. Then it will be 7. But if this formula is applied, then marginal utility will be 24 minus 10, which is 14, and this is incorrect. Reason being, change in units of commodity consumed is not taken into account here. It's only change in total utility is taken into account. So this formula needs to be applied when units consumed are not in the perfect serial order. If units consumed are in perfect order, then you can apply either of the two, because it is not going to affect the marginal utility, because units consumed are changing in the same order. You can have a look at it. With 1 unit consumed, total utility is 50, marginal utility remains same. When second unit is consumed, total utility is 90. So if we apply this formula, we have 90 minus 50 divided by 2 minus 1, which will be 40. And if this formula is applied, we will still have the same value. So is the case with rest of the units consumed. So one needs to focus on units consumed to decide whether this formula is to be used or this particular formula needs to be used. And we have seen that when units consumed are not in perfect order, like in this case, then change in total utility divided by change in the units of commodity consumed needs to be applied. And when units consumed are in perfect serial order like this, then it can be either this formula or this formula can be applied and you get the same result. Marginal utility can be shown diagrammatically also. For that, on x-axis units consumed and on y-axis marginal utility is taken. Units consumed are given as increasing from 0 to 6. Total utility with increase in consumption also increases till a certain point, then after remaining the same it declines. So one can find marginal utility. For 0 units consumed, marginal utility is not defined. For first unit consumed, it remains same. For second unit consumed, total utility is 9, so marginal utility is 9 minus 5, that is 4, and so on. One can find marginal utility till 6th unit is consumed. And one can notice that when 5 units are consumed, marginal utility is 0, and after that, marginal utility becomes negative. So, by plotting these points of marginal utility, one gets a downward sloping curve. It becomes 0 when 5 units are consumed and thereafter negative. Negative marginal utility implies dissatisfaction to the consumer. Any rational consumer would not consume the commodity when disutility sets in. So marginal utility is the slope explaining rate of change in total utility. Now assess yourself. A statement is given to you. You need to identify whether it is a true statement or false. The statement is, when marginal utility declines and is positive, total utility increases at a decreasing rate. Please check your answer. The statement is true. That is, as marginal utility declines and is positive, total utility increases at a decreasing rate. It is so because as more and more is consumed, utility that the individual derives goes on declining, and it occurs due to the existence of law of diminishing marginal utility. Now have a look at this statement and identify whether it is true or false. Marginal utility can never increase as consumption increases. Please check your answer. It's a false statement. Marginal utility increases as consumption increases from 0 unit to 1 unit. Thereafter, as more and more is consumed, marginal utility goes on declining. So it increases only initially. With this, the session comes to an end. I hope you have understood the concept of marginal utility in util terms. The next session focuses on marginal utility in monetary terms, which is termed as marginal utility of money. Till then, keep reading and keep learning.